What if the reason you are stuck has nothing to do with luck, education, or your background, and everything to do with a single belief you repeat every day without noticing it? What if the gap between rich and poor is not money but mindset? Not opportunity but perception in this eye-opening perspective inspired by Robert Kiyosaki. You will discover why smart people stay broke, why hard work alone can trap you, and how one mental shift can completely rewrite your financial future. Stay with me until the end. Because one sentence might change how you think forever. Most people believe the difference between rich and poor is money. But Robert Kiyosaki challenges that idea in a way that makes people uncomfortable. Because the truth forces responsibility back into our own hands. This is not a speech about hating the rich or blaming the poor. This is about understanding how invisible beliefs shape visible results, and how two people can live in the same city, earn similar incomes, yet end up in completely different financial realities from a psychological perspective. The poor mindset is not about intelligence or effort. It is about fear. Based thinking, fear of losing money, fear of being judged, fear of failing, fear of starting again. That fear quietly trains the brain to choose safety over growth, certainty over possibility, and comfort over learning. On the other side, the rich mindset is not greedy or heartless. It is curious. It asks questions like, how can I learn this? Who can teach me? How can I turn problems into assets? Kiyosaki often says schools teach people how to work for money, not how to make money work for them. That single sentence exposes a deep mental conditioning. Many people grow up hearing, study hard, get a good job, and you will be safe. But safety is a psychological illusion in a world that constantly changes. Jobs disappear, currencies crash, and systems evolve. Those with a poor mindset cling to security and panic when it breaks. Those with a rich mindset expect change and prepare for it. This is not about becoming a millionaire overnight. It is about reclaiming control over your thinking. The rich mindset understands that financial growth is personal development in disguise. You cannot out-earn your self-image. You cannot build wealth while secretly believing money is evil or that you are not worthy of more. The interview with Robert Kiyosaki reveals that wealth is a reflection of who you become, not what you chase today. This speech is an invitation to question your habits, your beliefs, and the stories you tell yourself about money, because the moment you change the way you think is the moment your future starts listening. The real difference between rich and poor does not begin in the bank account. It begins in the brain. Because money is first a thought before it becomes a result. And the way you talk to yourself about risk, fear, learning, and opportunity quietly programs the ceiling of your life. Most people wake up every day already defeated, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because their internal dialogue has been trained to think small. The poor mindset whispers things like, I can't afford this, I'm not good with money, this is too risky, or people like me don't get rich. These thoughts feel harmless, but psychologically they act like commands. The brain's job is to obey repetition. Whatever you repeat emotionally, your mind accepts as truth and then works tirelessly to prove it right. That is why mindset is not motivation, it is programming. Robert Kiyosaki often explains that before someone becomes rich financially, they become rich mentally. This is not about positive thinking or pretending problems do not exist. It is about how the brain interprets reality. Poor mindset sees money as a source of stress, conflict, and fear. A rich mindset sees money as a tool, a language, and a skill set. One avoids the topic of money, the other studies it. One feels anxiety when bills arrive. The other feels curiosity when opportunities appear. Psychologically, fear plays the biggest role. Fear of losing money is stronger than the excitement of gaining it. Fear activates the survival part of the brain, and when survival mode is on, learning mode shuts down. That is why many people refuse to invest in books, skills, or education, but will work overtime for years doing the same thing. The brain says, at least this feels safe. But safety without growth slowly becomes a cage. The rich mindset understands something powerful. Your thoughts create your financial habits, and your habits create your financial results. If you believe money is scarce, you will spend defensively, avoid risks, and miss opportunities. If you believe money can be created through value and learning, you start acting differently. You ask better questions. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, you say, how can I afford it? That single question shifts the brain from fear to creativity. This is where psychology becomes destiny. The mind does not respond to wishes. It responds to identity. If you see yourself as someone who struggles financially, you will unconsciously sabotage growth. You will hesitate, delay, and self-protect. But when you begin to identify as a learner, an investor, a thinker, someone who grows through mistakes, your behavior changes automatically. You stop waiting for permission. You stop needing guarantees. You start moving with intention. The poor mindset believes money changes people. The rich mindset understands money reveals people. Whatever is already inside you gets amplified. If you are disciplined, money magnifies discipline. If you are careless, money magnifies chaos. That is why wealth begins with self-mastery. Before you manage money, you must manage emotions. Before you build assets, you must build awareness. This is not about blaming anyone. Many people inherit limiting beliefs from family, culture, or past failures. But psychological freedom begins the moment you realize those beliefs are learned, not facts. And what is learned can be unlearned. The moment you challenge the story you tell yourself about money, you raise the ceiling of your life. Because wealth does not start when you earn more. It starts when you think differently. The poor mindset asks for safety and permission, while the rich mindset asks better questions, takes responsibility, and understands that failure is not a disaster, but data, feedback, and tuition paid to reality at the psychological level. The poor mindset is deeply connected to the need for approval and certainty. It waits for someone to say, we're ready, it's the right time, or this will work. This mindset is trained from childhood, where mistakes are punished, failure is embarrassed, and success is defined by obedience rather than creativity. Over time, the brain learns a dangerous lesson. Staying invisible feels safer than standing out, so instead of acting, people wait. Instead of experimenting, they ask for permission. And while they wait, opportunities pass quietly. The rich mindset operates from a completely different psychological foundation. It does not wait to feel ready, because it understands that readiness is created through action, not before it. Rich thinkers ask questions that expand power instead of shrinking it. Not what if I fail, but what will this failure teach me? Not what if I lose money, but what will I gain in experience, skills, or awareness? This shift is not optimism. It is strategic thinking rooted in responsibility. Robert Kiyosaki often emphasizes that employees are trained to avoid mistakes, while entrepreneurs are trained by them. That difference alone explains why many hardworking people stay financially stuck. When your brain associates failure with shame, you will do anything to avoid it. You will choose comfort over progress. But when failure is reframed as feedback, the emotional charge disappears. It becomes information. The moment you stop working only for money and start making money work for you, your identity shifts from survival mode to ownership mode. And that psychological shift changes how you see time, people, skills, and freedom. For most people, money is tied directly to effort. Hours worked equal money earned. This conditioning runs so deep that the brain struggles to imagine income without exhaustion. Psychologically, this keeps people trapped in survival mode, where the focus is paying bills, avoiding loss, and getting through the month. Survival mode is not evil, but it is limited. When the mind is busy surviving, it cannot build. It cannot think long term. It cannot create systems. It can only react. Robert Kiyosaki challenges this conditioning by separating income into two worlds: earned income and passive or leveraged income. But the deeper lesson is not financial, it is psychological. When you work only for money, money becomes your master. Your time is traded, your energy is consumed, and your value is capped by hours in a day. The poor mindset accepts this as normal. The rich mindset questions it. The shift begins when you start seeing money as a worker, not a reward. This changes identity. You no longer see yourself as just an employee, freelancer, or laborer. You begin to see yourself as an owner, an investor, a builder of systems. Identity drives behavior. When identity changes, habits follow. You start thinking about assets instead of paychecks, cash flow instead of salary, and long-term growth instead of short-term relief. This mindset also transforms how you see time. In survival mode, time is something you sell. You count hours, you dread Mondays. You live for weekends. In ownership mode, time becomes something you protect and invest. You understand that time is more valuable than money because money can be recreated, but time cannot. Rich-minded individuals are patient in the short term and strategic in the long term. They delay gratification not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand compounding. Psychologically, compounding is hard for the human brain to grasp. Mind prefers instant results. That is why many people quit just before progress accelerates. Now, the poor mindset wants proof before commitment. The rich mindset commits before proof, trusting the process and adjusting along the way. This ability to tolerate delayed rewards is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. Ownership mode also changes how you see people. Poor thinking asks, who can pay me? Rich thinking asks, who can I partner with? Instead of competition, there is collaboration. Instead of isolation, there is a leverage. The rich mindset understands that wealth is rarely built alone. It is built through teams, networks, and shared vision. This does not mean using people. It means creating value together. Skills are also viewed differently. In survival mode, you learn skills to get a job. In ownership mode, you learn skills to solve problems and create value. Sales, communication, financial literacy, leadership, and emotional intelligence become assets, not just abilities. You invest in yourself knowing that no one can take that away from you. Freedom is the final transformation. The poor mindset sees freedom as escaping work. The rich mindset sees freedom as having choice of how you spend your time, choice of who you work with, choice of where you live and how you contribute. This freedom is not instant. It is built intentionally, decision by decision. The moment money starts working for you, your life stops revolving around survival and starts moving toward purpose. And that is the true difference between rich and poor thinking. One of the most overlooked differences between rich and poor thinking is the relationship with learning. The poor mindset believes education ends with school. Once a degree is earned or a job is secured, learning feels optional. Psychologically, this creates stagnation. The brain becomes comfortable, and comfort slowly turns into resistance to growth. When new information challenges old beliefs, the mind protects itself by rejecting it. That is why many people say, that's risky, that won't work, or I already know this, without ever testing the idea. The rich mindset treats learning as a lifelong responsibility. Robert Kiyosaki often says that financial struggle is not a money problem, it is a knowledge problem. Rich thinkers understand that ignorance is expensive. They invest time, energy, and money into understanding how money works, how businesses operate, how markets move, and how psychology influences decisions. They read books others avoid. They listen to ideas that make them uncomfortable. They understand that discomfort is not a warning sign, it is a growth signal. From a psychological perspective, learning requires humility. The poor mindset is often trapped by ego. Ego says, I know enough, I don't need help, or if I admit I don't understand money, I look weak. This ego quietly blocks progress. The rich mindset does the opposite. It asks questions freely. It seeks mentors. It understands that being a beginner again is not humiliation. It is leverage. Self-discipline is another major divider. Poor thinking relies heavily on motivation, which is emotional and inconsistent. When motivation fades, action stops. Rich thinking relies on systems and discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It is choosing long-term benefits over short-term pleasure. It is studying finances when others are scrolling. It is saving and investing when others are spending to impress. The poor mindset often says, I'll start when I have more money. The rich mindset says, I'll start with what I have and grow from there. This difference is psychological ownership. Waiting for perfect conditions is a form of fear disguised as logic. Rich thinkers understand that clarity comes from action, not overthinking. Another critical element is emotional control. Money amplifies emotion. Fear causes panic selling. Greed causes reckless buying. The poor mindset reacts emotionally to financial situations. The rich mindset trains emotional intelligence. It pauses, it analyzes, it responds strategically instead of impulsively. This emotional mastery is what allows wealth to grow steadily instead of collapsing under pressure. Habits play a silent but powerful role. The poor mindset repeats daily behaviors without questioning them and hopes for change. The rich mindset audits habits regularly. It asks, is this habit moving me closer to freedom or further away? Small daily choices compound into massive life outcomes. What you read, who you listen to, how you spend your evenings, and what you prioritize quietly shape your future. Financial intelligence is not about complex math. It is about awareness, knowing the difference between assets and liabilities, understanding cash flow, recognizing how debt can be used wisely or destructively. The poor mindset avoids these topics because they feel overwhelming. The rich mindset leans into them because knowledge reduces fear. Ultimately, wealth grows where awareness, discipline, and learning meet. The rich mindset does not wait for change. It becomes the change through education and intentional habits. And that is why those who invest in their mind first eventually see the results in their life. In the end, the battle between rich and poor is not fought in the marketplace, the office, or the bank account. It is fought quietly in the mind every single day. Through the choices you make, the thoughts you repeat, and the beliefs you accept as truth. Money is only the scoreboard. Mindset is the game. And the most powerful realization you can walk away with today is this. You are not stuck because of where you come from. You are only stuck if you refuse to think differently. A poor mindset keeps people busy surviving, while a rich mindset trains people to start building. One lives in reaction, the other lives in intention. One waits for life to change, the other changes first and lets life respond. This is not about luck, privilege, or shortcuts. It is about courage, the courage to question what you were taught, the courage to unlearn limiting beliefs, and the courage to step into discomfort long enough for growth to happen. Robert Kiyosaki's message is not that everyone must become rich, but that everyone must become financially aware. Awareness is freedom. When you understand how money works, fear loses its grip. When you take responsibility for your financial education, excuses lose their power. When you stop blaming systems and start building skills, your confidence rises naturally. Not fake confidence, but the kind that comes from competence and clarity. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You do not need to know everything. You only need the willingness to start thinking like an owner instead of a victim. Owners ask questions. Owners invest in learning. Owners accept failure as feedback and keep moving forward. Every wealthy person you admire once stood exactly where you are now, confused, uncertain, and afraid. The only difference is they did not let fear make their decisions. Remember this. Hard work without direction leads to exhaustion, not freedom. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Sacrifice without strategy only creates burnout. The rich mindset aligns effort with intelligence. It focuses energy where it compounds. It understands that small disciplined actions repeated daily can outperform massive effort driven by emotion. Your past does not disqualify you. Your current income does not define you. Your environment does not own you. What owns you is the story you tell yourself every day. Change the story and behavior will follow. Change behavior and results will follow. Change results and identity will follow. This is how transformation actually happens. There will be moments of doubt. There will be setbacks. There will be times when quitting feels easier than continuing. But growth is not comfortable, and comfort has never created freedom. The life you want exists on the other side of consistent learning, disciplined action, and courageous thinking. You may not see results immediately, but every right decision is building something invisible that will one day become undeniable. So today, make a decision. Decide to stop saying "I can't" and start asking "How can I?" Decide to stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself authority over your future. Decide to stop working only for money and start building a life where money works for you. The rich mindset is not reserved for a few. It is available to anyone willing to think, learn, and act differently. Your financial future is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice, and that choice begins now.